Welcome to Pale Blue Dot Narrative, your weekly dive into the most exciting breakthroughs in science and technology shaping our world and our future. This week we're exploring three fascinating stories. First, how scientists are testing solar, geoengineering techniques to protect the Great Barrier Reef from the devastating effects of climate change. Then, we'll venture into the cutting-edge realm of living computers' tiny lab-grown mini-brains interfacing with computer chips, opening the door to a new era of biocomputing. And finally, we'll journey to the very heart of our galaxy to uncover the latest discoveries about Sagittarius A star, the mysterious supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, revealing clues about the powerful forces at play in our cosmic neighborhood. From the depths of the ocean to the frontiers of biology and the vastness of space, these stories showcase the incredible ingenuity and wonder driving science forward. So, let's get started. This week we start with Eco Insights, where we uncover the science behind the natural world and their impact on our planet. If you've ever seen a photo of the Great Barrier Reef, you know it's a dazzling display of marine life, bright corals, shimmering fish, and an entire ecosystem stretching over 2,300 kilometers. But what you might not see in those photos is how quickly this natural wonder is disappearing. Bleaching events, caused by rising ocean temperatures, have struck the reef again and again in recent years. And now, scientists are exploring an unconventional idea to buy the reef some time: solar geoengineering. Specifically, a technique called marine cloud brightening. Here's how it works. The idea is to spray microscopic sea salt particles into the air above the ocean. These particles help clouds form, and crucially, make them brighter. Brighter clouds reflect more sunlight back into space, meaning less heat reaches the ocean surface. Less heat could mean less coral bleaching. This approach falls under the broader umbrella of solar geoengineering, which refers to technologies that intentionally reflect a small portion of the sun's rays to cool the planet. It's controversial, it's experimental, and it's something that, until recently, existed mostly on paper. But in 2024, a research team from Southern Cross University, working with Australia's Reef Restoration and Adaptation Program, took this idea out to sea, literally. They fitted research vessels with custom-designed sprayers and released sea salt aerosols into the air near Townsville on Australia's northeast coast. Their aim was to see if it was possible, scientifically and logistically, to brighten clouds above the Great Barrier Reef. The early signs? Promising, but still early. The team successfully generated and dispersed the particles, and they've observed changes in cloud behavior. But whether these changes are enough to cool the reef, and whether that cooling is meaningful or sustainable, remains to be seen. Marine cloud brightening is not a silver bullet. Scientists working on the project are quick to point out that it's not a replacement for cutting greenhouse gas emissions. Think of it more like a climate defibrillator, a temporary measure that could keep parts of the reef alive while we tackle the bigger causes of climate change. Still, it raises important questions. What are the long-term consequences of changing cloud properties? Could this alter rainfall patterns or affect nearby ecosystems in unexpected ways? Who decides when and where such techniques should be used? Solar geoengineering walks a fine line. On one hand, it offers tools that might help us avoid the worst effects of a warming planet. On the other, it carries unknown risks and the temptation to delay meaningful climate action. But with the reef already showing signs of distress, some scientists argue that the risk of doing nothing is just as great. Marine cloud brightening might not save the Great Barrier Reef forever. But if it gives us even a few more years to act, if it preserves just a little more time for ecosystems to adapt, for coral species to recover, for emissions to fall, then maybe, just maybe, it's worth exploring. Because when it comes to the reef, we're not just fighting to preserve a tourist attraction. We're trying to keep one of Earth's most diverse and fragile ecosystems from disappearing on our watch. In the next segment, Tech Threads, where we explore the fascinating world of technology, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending developments in science and technology: the fusion of lab-grown human brain cells, known as organoids with computer chips. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. and it could change everything we know about computers, medicine, and even intelligence itself. So, what exactly are these brain organoids on chips? Imagine a tiny living cluster of human brain cells, grown from stem cells in a laboratory dish. These organoids are just a fraction of a millimeter across, but they contain thousands of neurons that can communicate with each other, just like the ones in our own brains. Now picture connecting these living cells to a computer chip using microscopic electrodes. The result is a hybrid system where living brain cells and silicon can send signals back and forth, a living computer. But what can we actually do with this technology? The possibilities are huge. First, there's the promise of ultra-efficient artificial intelligence. Our brains are far more energy efficient than even the best computers, so living computers could one day perform complex tasks like recognizing speech or patterns while using just a fraction of the power. That's a big deal for the environment, considering how much electricity current AI models require. Second, and perhaps even more exciting, is the potential for medical breakthroughs and personalized medicine. By combining brain organoids with computer chips, researchers are creating living models that closely mimic the human brain's structure and function. These organoids on chip systems can be grown from a patient's own cells, which means they carry the same genetic information and disease characteristics as the patient. This allows scientists and doctors to model complex brain disorders, such as Alzheimer's, epilepsy, or rare genetic diseases, in a way that's never been possible before. With these personalized brain organoids, doctors can test how different drugs or treatments will affect an individual's unique biology. Instead of relying on animal models or generic cell cultures, which often fail to predict how real patients will respond, organoids on chip provide a much more accurate platform for drug testing and development. This means treatments can be tailored specifically for each patient, increasing the chances of success and reducing the risk of side effects. For example, if someone has a brain tumor, scientists can grow a mini version of that tumor as an organoid, test various chemotherapy drugs on it, and identify which treatment is most effective before administering it to the patient. This approach streamlines the drug development process, speeds up the search for effective therapies. Beyond cancer, organoids on chip are being used to study rare genetic disorders, infectious diseases, and even how the brain develops. They can reveal how specific genetic mutations affect brain function and help identify targeted therapies for conditions that previously had no effective treatment. In short, the integration of lab-grown brain cells with computer chips is opening the door to a new era of personalized medicine, where treatments are designed for each individual based on living models of their own cells. This technology promises not only more effective medical care, but also a deeper understanding of human health and disease. This technology could also revolutionize robotics and prosthetics. Brain organoid chips might one day help control robotic limbs or devices, making them more natural and responsive. And finally, we're talking about a whole new way of building computers machines that don't just follow programmed instructions, but can actually learn, adapt, and maybe even think in ways similar to humans. Now, why does all this matter? For starters, it could save massive amounts of energy. Training today's AI models eats up huge amounts of electricity. Living computers could do the same work with much less power, helping the planet. It also opens up new ways to study intelligence itself. By watching how organoids process information, scientists can uncover the secrets of learning, memory, and decision-making insights that could help us understand our own brains. Of course, there are challenges. Keeping these organoids alive and healthy isn't easy. They usually only last a few months. Scaling up production and standardizing the technology for everyday use will take time. And there are important ethical questions about using human brain cells in machines that we'll need to address as the field moves forward. But make no mistake, the fusion of lab-grown human brain cells with computer chips is a bold leap into the future. It could power smarter AI, unlock new medical treatments, and reshape our understanding of what it means to think. The line between biology and technology is blurring, and the possibilities are as exciting as they are profound. So, keep an eye on this space because the age of living computers is just beginning. In the next segment, Cosmic Conversations, where we delve into the latest discoveries and debates shaping our understanding of the universe. Today, we're venturing into the very heart of our galaxy, the Milky Way. to explore one of the most mysterious and fascinating objects in the universe, Sagittarius A star, the supermassive black hole at our galaxy's core. Imagine for a moment a place so dense and powerful that not even light can escape its grasp. That's Sagittarius A star. But how did we discover this cosmic giant, and what have we learned about it since? Let's start with the story of its discovery. The journey began not with visible light, but with radio waves. Back in 1933, a radio engineer named Carl Jansky detected unusual radio signals coming from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. It wasn't until 1974, though, that astronomers Bruce Ballack and Robert Brown zeroed in on a compact, incredibly bright radio source at the very center of our galaxy. They named it Sagittarius A star. But what exactly was this mysterious radio source? For decades, astronomers debated its true identity. The breakthrough came in the early 2000s, when teams led by Reinhard Genzel and Andrea Ghez tracked the orbits of stars near the galactic center. They watched as a star called S2 whipped around an invisible point at speeds of 5,000 kilometers per second. The only explanation: a supermassive black hole containing more than 4 million times the mass of our Sun, packed into a space smaller than Mercury's orbit around the Sun. So, what does Sagittarius A star look like? Well, it's located about 26,000 light-years from Earth, nestled in the dense star fields of Sagittarius. Its event horizon, the point of no return, spans about 24 million kilometers. But from our vantage point, it appears minuscule, subtending, just 51.8 micro-arc-seconds on the sky. Capturing an image of something so small required an incredible feat of engineering. Enter the Event Horizon Telescope, or EHT, a global network of radio observatories working together to form a virtual telescope the size of our planet. In 2022, the EHT team released the first-ever image of Sagittarius A star. The photo showed a glowing orange ring of hot gas swirling around a dark shadow, the black hole's silhouette matching predictions from Einstein's theory of general relativity. But how do scientists study something that, by definition, can't be seen directly? They rely on several clever techniques. First, they track the orbits of stars near Sagittarius A star to measure its mass and gravitational influence. They also use radio telescopes to peer through the thick dust that obscures the galactic center. And with space telescopes like NASA's James Webb, astronomers observe flares, brief, intense bursts of infrared light coming from the region around the black hole. These flares, which can last from minutes to months, are thought to be caused by magnetic turbulence and hot gas spiraling into the event horizon. Sagittarius A star is more than just a cosmic curiosity. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding how galaxies form and evolve. Supermassive black holes like Sagittarius A star are thought to play a central role in shaping their host galaxies, influencing star formation and galactic structure. Studying Sagittarius A star also lets scientists test the limits of Einstein's theories in some of the most extreme conditions in the universe. Despite all we've learned, many mysteries remain. For example, why does Sagittarius A star emit so little light compared to other supermassive black holes? What drives the unpredictable flares we observe? And how do magnetic fields shape the environment around the event horizon? Future missions, including expanded networks of radio telescopes and advanced space observatories, aim to answer these questions. Thanks for joining us on this week's journey through the wonders of science and technology. From the innovative efforts to shield the Great Barrier Reef against climate change, to the frontiers of biocomputing with living mini-brains, and the latest revelations about the supermassive black hole at our galaxy's core, it's clear that curiosity and discovery continue to shape our world and our future. For deeper analysis and ongoing updates on these stories and more, be sure to check out our news publication, Pale Blue Narratives, available on Substack and Patreon. Your support there helps keep this exploration of science and technology thriving. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share Pale Blue Narrative with fellow science enthusiasts. Until next time, keep looking deeper, asking questions, and marveling at the pale blue dot we all call home. Stay curious, and see you next week.